So hi, welcome to my podcast. I'm Shane,
I'm Glory.
and we're here with.
I am Gunner.
There's some questions today about his upcoming album, SUNFADED. So congrats on that, by the way. How do you feel about the response, the announcement so far?
I'm really excited, man. I feel like for this release and this project, I've never been so proud of the music I'm putting out. And it's a weird thing in the industry where, like it takes a while to get a song from conception to release. And so by the long process that is, usually, by the time it comes out, you're kind of ready for the next thing.
Mm.
And I'm really, really happy right now because I've never felt more connected to these songs and this music than today, which is, a year, at least a year and a half from conception. So it's pretty cool. They're my little babies.
Well, that's great to
Hell
hear.
yeah.
The extra passion going into the release is definitely huge. The album is awesome. I love how eclectic it is, genuinely.
Damn straight. Yeah.
Oh, thank you. So you guys got to listen through it.
Yep, jammed all 9 tracks.
Awesome.
Hell yeah.
That makes me happy.
I am curious, though, since you mentioned it's such a long process from conception to release, the timeline for the album, when you started writing it, when you had the masters in hand, rough dates, they don't have to be exact.
I mean, we threw last minute, we threw like two songs in there that were pretty old, but I'd say at least a year.
Sounds good. And would you be able to tell us if there's any meaning behind the album title or cover art?
Yeah, so this is exciting because this is the first time I've gotten to talk about it. So
Hell yeah.
I titled this project Sun Faded for kind of a few reasons that are all part of kind of an overwhelming concept of just me being kind of burnt out with LA and California even as a whole. And I was born here, raised here, moved up to LA, when I was 16, 17, and lived here ever since. And I'm just at a point now where I'm sun faded. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to
Mm.
go experience something else. And there's so many reasons and meanings behind it, but at the end of the day, like I think this project is a really, really good representation of me today. Um and with that is like a new clarity of kind of what I want to be and who I want to be in the future. And so whatever it is, whoever it is, I just think, this album represents me kind of becoming sun faded of the city and California and LA. And
Gotcha. So it's
Hell yeah.
basically it's breaking down those feelings that you have about living in LA and trying to figure out what to do next in a way.
yeah, and like I feel like there's so much constant pressure and so much chaos all the time, and especially in this industry, it's just, it's a lot. And it's also focused obviously here in LA more so than New York, Nashville. Even like LA is the market. And you know like there's this part of me now that's just kind of I'm beat up and sun faded from it all, and
Mhm.
want to try something new in terms of environment. And I think this music like represents that new age, that new chapter of my life.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Do you still physically want to move out of LA, or is it more like a mental thing that you had to move past?
I think it's definitely 100% it's both, but I think I do physically want to move out of LA.
Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Is there something stopping, like, not to get super deep into it, but I'm just curious, is there something
That's
that's
good.
stopping you? Do you feel like because it's the kind of the center for the music industry that if you move away it'll take away opportunities and things like that, or
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's a huge part of me that's reserved to make that actual decision
Mhm.
because of how central LA is to everything music.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I think this project specifically, like, there's a little bit of everything in there. I think it kind of encapsulates not just one genre, but like an entire story of me as a human and less as like a pop rock artist. Like it has a lot of me in it. And so I'm hoping that I can take that mentality and that mindset and kind of put that into my actual life and, you know, be able to let go of that stress and pressure of having to be here and try to go experience other things and other, other places in life that I can't do here.
Absolutely. Hell yeah.
Makes sense.
Is there any meaning behind the cover art?
Yeah, I mean the cover art, I obviously wanted something that represented the imagery of what SUNFADED is, and um, I've had some conversations about moving to Dallas, Texas, and um, I feel like that feels pretty country to me, and um, so the artwork kind of represents that, and so yeah, I think it just I wanted to really visually encapsulate what the album means, like what the title means, and I think the artwork was just like a visual representation of that.
Makes sense.
Gotcha.
So
Yeah.
can you tell us a little bit about the writing process for the album?
Yeah, so this one was really cool because a little bit of background and history on me is like, I started doing this at a really young age. I signed a record deal when I was 17 and was kind of thrown into this, here's what you're gonna do map.
Mhm.
And I did that for a few years until I kind of grew up a little bit and realized like I want to make music that I want to make. And so I had this like rebellion where I went and I made a rock album where I was like, I just want to write stuff that sounds like it's made to be played live. And I did that, and that album's called Best Mistake, and toured that for like a year and a half, and then 2 summers ago I went on tour with Maroon 5 in Europe, which
Mhm.
was unbelievable and
Insane.
life changing and incredible. And I obviously grew as a human being, but I also grew a ton as an artist because I got up on stage in front of, you know, thousands and thousands of people, and I really got to hone in on what music made me feel the most connected in that moment.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And what songs didn't, and what songs did people gravitate more towards than others. And I came off that tour with kind of this like really, really clear understanding of what I wanted to do. And that's what this album is. And I think it's a really good blend of using those elements of rock music and attitude that makes me feel like me. It makes me feel like I'm my own person and I have true things to say. And then I mix that in with, the stuff that really feels like I connect the most with an audience, which is, stuff that is inviting and feels a little bit more um universal and like receivable by an audience. And so I feel like on this project I really went in there with the mindset of like I was way over here and then I moved over here, and it's like I see it clearly now on where I want to end up, and that's kind of in the middle of that pop rock area.
Yeah, you had to do the two extremes to find where you belong.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
and ultimately, I guess you wrote this record for a live audience in mind.
Always. That's always been my mindset on writing. It's just live shows are kind of my sweet spot, and where I think I stand out as an artist, and where the greatest reward of doing all of this is at a live show. And so to be able to write music that is made for that, and I think what's really special about this project and what I really wanted um was for when someone hears the project to hear that it's made to be live. And like
Absolutely.
I want the song to be the ticket to like we have to go see this live.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Makes sense. So, what song off the album took longest to write, and which one is your personal favorite?
Ooh, that's a really good question.
Thank you.
I think the same song is the answer to both.
Okay.
The song that took the longest to write was The Art of Staying Alive. Wrote that song probably 2 years ago. Loved it, but it was in the vault. And then earlier this year, I lost my house in the California wildfire,
I'm sorry.
and I kind of had to really step away from music for at least a month just to figure my shit out.
Absolutely.
And in that, I like kind of rediscovered that song, and what it meant to me at that moment was like 10 times more. It was just 10 times more true to my life now than it was when I wrote it.
Mhm.
And so, it was like I had a verse and a chorus, and then I just flew the first verse into the second verse. And so I was like, I want to go into the studio and I want to finish the song. Like something about the song just feels aligned with everything that I'm going through right now. And it's been like an escape during this time. And so I went back in the studio 2 years probably after I wrote it and rewrote a ton of it, wrote a new verse, wrote different lines in the choruses, um and like came out of that with so much excitement and so much love for what that song is and means and says. Um and so because of that, yeah, it's become my favorite song. We've now decided I've decided to put it as the focus track on the album when the album
Hell
comes
yeah.
out. And I think that song is like everything about it is the energy, the attitude, the lyrics, um, the emotion, like everything about it is just it's my favorite song on the project and the song I'm most excited to like open a show with. And um, so yeah, that song is the answer to both of those questions because it took so long to finish it and get it complete. Um, not even like I wouldn't say it was difficult
Hmm.
because it wasn't like I was in there every day for 2 years. It was just a song, a demo that I had that then I rediscovered in a time of struggle, and it kind of gave me something that I needed at that time. And so I went back in and kind of reworked it 2 years later, and now it's like the focus track.
Yeah, and it's so wild, like how the way art is. Like you wrote the song initially, presumably about one thing, and then you rediscover it 2 years later, and it's got its own meaning, a new meaning to you that's
Yeah.
different from what you initially wrote it about.
It is like, and same with Upside Down, which is it's like there's a few songs on this project where I'm like, why did I even write this back then? Like, what was I thinking? Because
Yeah.
somehow it is exactly what I'm going through now.
Hmm.
Like, how did it was like foreshadowing of my life. It's been really cool.
Yeah,
It's crazy.
that's so
Yeah.
interesting. So how did the track list for your album come about? Did you write the opener be the opener, closer be a closer, shuffle around and see what fits? What was that process like?
None of the above. It was I just wrote a bunch of songs that, normally you go and you write 100 songs to pick 20 or whatever it is
Mhm.
proportionally. And for this album, I was like, I just want to go and I want to write songs and I want to use those songs. Like whatever comes is what I want to be put out.
Hmm.
And there wasn't an order in mind until we had like the full collection of music. And then we started to like slowly put an order together. And then, we wanted it to have its ups and downs. So like we put the slower songs kind of in the middle so it has its moment. But after The Art of Staying Alive was complete, there was no other answer than putting that as the opener to the project. Um and then Bitter as the closer because I think it's fun and it's kind of it leaves you on a little bit of a journey. And so yeah, then you just start piecing them together. I got to start with this one. I want to end with this one. I want to have these three slower songs in the middle. Like, what sounds better in front of it? What sounds better behind it? And
Mhm.
yep.
Absolutely, hell yeah, like a
Makes
puzzle.
sense. Mhm.
Yeah. Like a
And
puzzle and less like a story, which is I've done a story in the past and people do like, tell the story of a situation with the album, and this wasn't that.
Yeah,
Makes
absolutely.
sense. And would you be able to tell us where your headspace is at while you're creating this record?
My headspace while I was creating it was in a really good place. A really clear artistic place on where I knew exactly what I wanted to do,
Mhm.
which is rare.
Yeah.
Which is okay. So what affected that? Do you know what kind of triggered that for you, or was it just kind of lightning in a bottle?
No, I think it was coming off of that tour and
Mhm.
after going on one full side of the spectrum, then to the other,
Mhm.
and then experiencing that tour in Europe, I came back with like I just felt like I had crystal clear vision. And so when I went into the studio, like I knew exactly what sounds I wanted, what I didn't want present. Um, I just had like I felt like I saw what I wanted to do, and then I just started trying to execute it.
Yeah. Makes sense.
That's fair.
So how do you recommend your fans to listen to this album for the first time? Should you do it in the car with friends, in dark with headphones on? Is workout album, party album? What do you personally recommend?
Ooh, another great question.
Thank you.
I would listen to it top to bottom. I would say definitely headphones, or in the car, but headphones you get like the best quality, so
Yeah.
headphones are always better. But if I could pick, I would say like if you're working out, right?
Mhm.
And you're on your last 5 minutes,
Mhm.
start the album.
Okay.
And then you'll
Oh.
listen to the first two songs kind of while you're finishing. You'll feel really good.
Mhm.
You'll get it. And then you'll get in the car to go home. And the middle will start to hit, and you'll start to really feel the project and feel the depth and the artistry to it.
Mhm.
And by the time you're getting home and getting out of the car, you're going to be like, oh my God, that was an adventure.
Hmm.
All right.
I really like that
Yeah.
answer. That's you
Yeah.
actually give like a fully fleshed out answer instead of just, oh, in the car. That'd
Yeah.
be good. That
Well,
fucks. Hell
like,
yeah.
it's not the album entirely is not made for like one thing. So I think I was trying to like
Take
what's a
yourself on an
scenario where
adventure.
you could kind of feel each little part. And I think like
Yeah.
the first few songs are powerful and energetic and have attitude. And I think finishing a workout with that's great. And then you get in the car and you slow down a little bit, and that's when the album slows down, and then it kind of picks back up, and your day continues right as you're getting out.
Damn straight.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. And this one should be super, super quick off the top of your head. I want you to describe this album for new listeners in 3 words. No more, no less.
3 words. I would say powerful.
Mm-hmm.
I'd say honest,
Mm-hmm.
and I'd say attitude.
Hell yeah.
Those are good.
Solid.
And then
Yeah.
that same train of thought, is there a certain feeling or emotion you want listeners to have while going through the album?
I don't know if this is the right word to say, but like refreshingness, whatever the word is.
Yeah.
I think it feels like it's true, authentic music, which is really exciting. Um, and I think, I'm always an advocate for more music that feels true and real. I think they'll feel I think they'll feel empowered. I think people who listen to the song will feel like they want to go do shit.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think that like in the slower part of the project, I think they'll feel really in touch. It's hyphenated, but in touch is my word, because I think you'll feel really connected and like really attached to the words that I'm saying and the energy of
Mhm.
those slower songs that like it'll slap you in the face in a realism and like kind of somber way.
Yeah.
I like that.
That makes sense. And are you able to touch on any particularly challenging or standout moments during the creation of the album, positive or negative?
Yeah, the song You Changed Me was a really hard one to write. Um, I wrote that from the perspective of somebody in my life who was with the wrong person, and it kind of messed our family up,
Mm-hmm.
um and so that was a really hard song because it felt good to express, but I didn't want it to be from my perspective. I wanted to write it from their perspective, and so that was a challenge. And then I think the biggest challenge of all is like now once you have it, like what do you do?
Yeah.
It's like writing a rant message to somebody, and then it's like now you have to hit send.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You got it off your chest, and like you feel good about it, but it's a tough listen.
Yeah.
And so that has been a challenge, and I'm still a little nervous about when it comes out, but the hardest part is definitely like those were such real emotions that created such a beautiful piece of art, and now I have to like own up to that and give it to the world.
Which
Yeah,
is
daunting.
a little bit more daunting than sending a rant text to one person.
Mm-hmm.
For sure, but it's something that's like, yeah, exactly. It's like sending a rant. It's like typing a rant text about somebody and then posting it on Instagram.
Yeah, you're
Oh,
posting it
yeah.
to potentially 7 billion people.
Yeah,
Mhm.
literally. So, but it was one of those things where it was like, I wasn't even sure about putting it on the album, but everyone who listened to it was like, this needs to be on there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so
You're like, shit.
here we go.
Yeah.
Like, okay, I guess.
Yeah. All right. So for this question, I want you to picture you're on tour. You got to at a gas station for a rest stop. What is your snack of choice?
I'm a big salt and vinegar chips guy.
Hell yeah.
A Diet Coke in the plastic bottle,
Mhm.
or a canned Sprite, but they don't have those often. And then I love those little Harborough like gummy packs.
Mhm.
They're like gummy bears, but they're not bears. They're like the rings.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah. And then mini M&Ms. For whatever reason, mini M&Ms are my favorite.
They're just better. Yeah.
They're better.
Mhm. No, I get it.
Can't
I get
explain
it.
it.
Yeah. Hell yeah. And on the topic of food, if your music project was a dish, what dish would it be and why?
Oh my gosh. Um, oh my gosh, what a wild question.
Thank you.
I'd say it's like a nice steak, ribeye steak
Mm.
with like a beautifully presented lobster tail with it,
Mhm.
and then like a slice of pizza.
Hell yeah.
All right.
You know what? Variety. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it. And for the last couple questions, going to shift completely away from music and go straight to death row.
Boom.
So if you're on death row, what would your last meal be with a drink?
My death row meal forever will be In-N-Out. Double cheeseburger plain, Diet Coke, and a cheese fry.
Got that shit
Damn.
unlocked.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
That's impressive. It's
Yeah.
impressive.
Like all
and-
day long. That's my death row meal.
Yeah. Hell yeah. And if you could live in one fictional world for a week, where would you live?
I think I'd want to live in terms of vibes, I think I'd want to live in the Surf's Up town.
Fuck yeah.
I think it's just like everyone's just like chill. Weather looks great. A lot of good chicken.
Yeah.
Big Z and a little private beach. I think
Mhm.
that's going to be my answer. I don't
Such
know
a
why
good
that
movie.
came to me.
Yeah.
Like it would be badass to be like in Interstellar or like be in space or something like that. But like in terms of vibe, no,
Can't
that
beat
would
it.
suck. Yeah.
Yeah. Can't beat it.
Hell yeah. And I've asked the last question. Every single person I've spoken to have said that it is the most important question. What is your favorite color?
My favorite color has always been like a solid navy blue.
That's solid.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Good pick.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
So as I said, that's all the questions we have today. Is there anything that you'd like to plug?
I mean, I would just say if someone's listening to this and they check out the music and anything at all speaks to them, like come see a show, come see it live. It's that much better in person.
Hell yeah.
Damn straight.
All right. Well, thank you for sound. It's been Gunnar, and we have been the Good Noise Podcast.